Snow fell softly outside the grand glass walls of the hotel ballroom, but inside, everything glittered with warmth, wealth, and polished perfection. Crystal chandeliers shimmered like stars. Expensive laughter floated through the air. Executives in tailored suits raised glasses of champagne, celebrating another record-breaking year. And in the middle of all that luxury stood a little girl in a red Christmas dress, completely silent. She didn't laugh. She didn't clap when the music started. She didn't react when people greeted her. She only stared at the floor, gripping her mother's hand tightly, as if the entire world around her felt too loud, even in silence. Then something happened that nobody expected. A man across the room looked at her, raised his hands, and began speaking without saying a single word. Within seconds, the little girl's face changed. For the first time that night, she smiled. And her mother, the CEO who had spent years fighting the world for her daughter, froze in shock. Before we begin this emotional story, if you believe kindness can heal broken hearts and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories. Elena Hart had built an empire from nothing. At 36, she was the youngest female CEO in her industry, leading one of the largest tech firms in the country. Newspapers called her ruthless. Investors called her brilliant. Competitors feared her. But none of them knew the real Elena. None of them saw the woman who woke up at 3 a.m. because her daughter had nightmares. None of them saw the mother who learned sign language from scratch after doctors told her that her baby girl would never hear her voice. None of them saw the tears she cried alone in the bathroom after people whispered cruel things about her daughter. Her 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had been born profoundly deaf. Elena remembered the day doctors told her. She had held baby Lily in her arms while the doctor gently explained the diagnosis. She had smiled and nodded through the appointment like she understood everything. Then she got into her car and broke down completely. Not because Lily was deaf, but because Elena was terrified. Terrified she wouldn't know how to reach her daughter. Terrified Lily would feel isolated. Terrified the world would be cruel. And sadly, the world often was. Parents pulled their children away from Lily at playgrounds because they didn't know how to communicate. Teachers assumed she was slow before understanding she simply communicated differently. Even adults sometimes gave pitying looks Elena hated. But Lily was brilliant. She saw details others missed. She painted emotions she couldn't hear. She felt energy in rooms before anyone spoke. She was sensitive, intelligent, and deeply observant. Yet despite all her strengths, social situations remained difficult. Especially crowded ones. Especially loud ones. Especially events like tonight. Elena hated bringing Lily to corporate dinners, but her babysitter had cancelled last minute, and this was the company's annual Christmas gala, the one event she absolutely could not miss. So here they were. Lily stood close to her mother, overwhelmed. People smiled politely at the little girl, but most didn't know what to do next. They spoke to Elena instead of Lily. How adorable. She's so quiet. She looks shy. Elena forced polite smiles while anger simmered underneath. Quiet? No. Her daughter wasn't quiet. The world simply didn't understand her language. After 30 exhausting minutes of greetings, speeches, and forced networking, Elena noticed Lily withdrawing deeper into herself. Her shoulders curled inward. Her gaze dropped. Her hands tightened. Elena's heart sank. She knelt and gently signed to her daughter, asking if she wanted to go home. Lily hesitated. Then nodded. Elena stood, preparing to leave, when someone near the dessert table caught Lily's attention. A man. Tall. Broad shoulders. Mid-30s. Dark hair slightly messy, as though he had stopped caring about appearances halfway through life. He wore a simple black suit without the polished arrogance common among executives. And he was watching Lily. Elena's protective instincts instantly rose. But before she could react, the man raised both hands. His fingers moved gracefully. Fluidly. Confidently. Sign language. Lily froze. Her eyes widened. The man smiled warmly and signed again. Merry Christmas. The world stopped. Elena forgot to breathe. Lily stared in disbelief. Then slowly. Very slowly. Her tiny hands rose. And she signed back. Merry Christmas. The man's smile widened. Elena felt tears burn behind her eyes. For months, maybe years, she had watched Lily struggle to connect with strangers. Now here was someone who reached her in seconds. Without noise. Without effort. Without pity. Lily stepped forward. Then another step. Her entire posture transformed. The fear disappeared. The tension melted. And then it happened. She smiled. A real smile. Big. Bright. Radiant. The kind of smile Elena hadn't seen at a public event in years. The man crouched to Lily's height and continued signing. He asked her name. Her favorite color. Whether she liked Christmas. Lily's hands moved faster and faster. Her face lit up with excitement. She laughed silently, shoulders bouncing. Elena stood motionless. She didn't know why, but tears slipped down her cheeks. She quickly wiped them. The man noticed. He stood and approached carefully. His expression held kindness, but also something familiar. Pain. The kind pain recognizes in pain. He signed first to Lily that he would speak with her mother, then looked at Elena. He introduced himself. Daniel Reed. Single father. Architect. Board guest invited by one of Elena's investors. Elena asked the question she couldn't hold back. How do you know sign language? For a moment, Daniel's expression shifted. His eyes softened. Grief flickered there. Then he answered. His son. The two words landed heavily. Daniel explained. His son, Noah, had been deaf. Past tense. Had. Elena noticed it instantly. Her chest tightened. Daniel continued carefully. Noah had been born deaf, just like Lily. Daniel and his wife learned sign language to communicate with him. They built their entire world around making sure Noah never felt broken. Never felt less. Never felt excluded. Daniel smiled while talking about him, but sorrow lived beneath every word. Then came the sentence that broke Elena. Noah passed away 3 years ago. Silence. Even in a noisy ballroom, silence. Elena felt something inside her ache. She looked toward Lily, who was now examining Christmas decorations while still glancing back at Daniel. Daniel's voice lowered. A drunk driver. Just like that. Everything changed. His marriage didn't survive the grief. His wife left a year later. Daniel remained. Alone. Working. Breathing. Existing. Not living. Until tonight. He looked at Lily. And for the first time in years, he said, he felt his son's memory not as pain, but as warmth. Elena didn't know what to say. Some wounds were too deep for words. So she did what mattered. She signed to him. Thank you. Daniel blinked. Then smiled. The next hour passed in a way Elena never expected. Instead of rushing home, she stayed. Because Lily wanted to stay. Because Lily was happy. Daniel spent the evening signing jokes to Lily. He taught her silly holiday signs. He exaggerated facial expressions until she laughed so hard she nearly fell over. People around them began noticing. Executives stopped talking business. They watched. Some with curiosity. Some with guilt. Because for the first time, many realized they had never truly tried to include Lily. Not really. One woman from HR approached and asked Elena to teach her basic signs. Then another. And another. Soon, several people were learning simple signs. Hello. Thank you. Friend. Merry Christmas. Lily became the center of something beautiful. Not because people pitied her. Because they were finally meeting her. Really meeting her. Elena couldn't stop watching Daniel. The patience in his movements. The tenderness in his expressions. The quiet sadness he carried. He understood silence better than anyone in the room. Near the end of the night, Lily tugged Elena's sleeve and signed something. Elena stared. Then looked at Daniel. Lily had asked a simple question. Can he come again? Elena felt her throat tighten. Daniel saw her expression and understood something important had been asked. She translated. He smiled. Then signed directly to Lily. If your mom says yes. Lily immediately looked at Elena with hopeful eyes. Eyes no mother could resist. Elena laughed through tears. Yes. Lily launched forward and hugged Daniel. He froze. His arms hovered. Then slowly wrapped around her. And that was when Elena saw it. Daniel's face broke. Not outwardly. But his composure cracked. His eyes shut. A tear escaped. One tear. 3 years of grief hidden behind strength, undone by a child's hug. He gently hugged Lily back like he was holding something sacred. When they pulled apart, something had changed. Not just for Lily. Not just for Daniel. For Elena too. The weeks that followed transformed all 3 lives. Daniel began visiting. Sometimes for coffee. Sometimes to help Lily with art. Sometimes just to sign stories. Lily adored him. She became brighter. More confident. More social. She smiled more. Laughed more. Painted happier colors. And Elena. Elena found herself waiting for Daniel's messages. Looking forward to evenings. Noticing how peaceful home felt when he was there. For years she had carried everything alone. Career. Motherhood. Pain. Responsibility. Strength. Daniel never tried to rescue her. He simply stood beside her. And somehow that meant more. One snowy evening, months later, Elena found Daniel in Lily's art room. He stood staring at a painting. It showed 3 figures under Christmas lights. A woman. A little girl. A man. Holding hands. Daniel's eyes glistened. Lily had written one word at the top. Family. Elena stepped beside him. Neither spoke. Finally, Daniel signed. I'm scared. Elena looked at him. Why? He continued. Because loving again means risking loss again. Elena's heart tightened. She understood. She signed back. And avoiding love means losing before life even begins. Daniel looked at her. Really looked. Not as a grieving father. Not as a lonely man. But as someone standing at the edge of hope. Then he signed something that made Elena cry instantly. Your daughter gave me back my smile. Elena signed back with trembling hands. You gave mine hers. If this story is touching your heart, please comment below with this special message. Kindness speaks louder than words. Months later, at the next Christmas gala, the ballroom looked just as glamorous. Same lights. Same music. Same luxury. But everything felt different. This year, when guests entered, they were greeted by something unexpected. A sign language welcome board. Every table had cards teaching basic signs. Employees signed Merry Christmas to one another. And in the center of the room stood Lily. Confident. Radiant. No longer hiding. No longer afraid. Beside her stood Elena. And Daniel. Together. When the annual speech began, Elena stepped on stage. Her voice trembled. She told everyone something no business report ever could. That true leadership wasn't about power. It was about making sure no one felt invisible. That inclusion wasn't charity. It was respect. That love often arrives quietly. Not with grand speeches. But through small acts of understanding. She looked at Lily. Then Daniel. And smiled. A year ago, she had entered this room carrying exhaustion and fear. Tonight, she stood there carrying something else. Hope. Family. Healing. And love. As applause filled the ballroom, Lily looked at Daniel and signed 3 simple words. I love you. Daniel's hands shook. He signed back. I love you too. And for the first time since losing his son, the ache in his heart no longer felt like an open wound. It felt like memory. Like love transformed. Like pain becoming purpose. Like Noah, somewhere beyond sight, had led him here. To this child. To this family. To this second chance. Before this story ends, if it moved you even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts around the world. Because sometimes, the deepest connections are not spoken. They are felt. And sometimes the people who heal us don't arrive with noise. They arrive in silence. Speaking the language our hearts have been waiting to hear all along.